Thanks for tuning in to You See Me, focusing on the battle of self-love, acceptance, abuse, spirituality, and much more. Your host, Tina Wynn, will be sharing various ways and strategies that she used to overcome grief, addiction, and depression. You See Me is a self-expressed term Tina uses as a way of making people see the real you. For people to see you, you must first see yourself.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to the You See Me podcast. This is season number 3, episode number 5, and you can continue to find all the episodes right here at You See Me podcast or on the We Empower Network Saturdays at 7 p.m. So, guys, all January, we were discussing relationships and the importance of being seen and appreciated in these relationships. And I hope you guys have taken what was needed from those discussions and left what wasn't. Because for starters, we don't pick up what doesn't belong to us. We are daily reflecting so that we are always in view of self, not in view of others. When we can see ourselves and that of others, we can properly provide each other with a sense of belonging and a sense of love. And as we move through the month of February, enjoying our entire 28 days, yep, they gave us a whole 28 days, guys, of Black history. Trust me, they see us and they always have and always will. We got to start seeing ourselves, which is why we are here anyway. But anyway, we will be discussing the impact love has on our lives, relationships, and the connectivity it brings with the Father and others. So, guys, as we enter into our love topics for the month of February and focus in on some of these historical African American figures during the month of February, I know you guys are asking the infamous question, what's love got to do with it? And in my opinion, it has everything to do with it. And RIP to the best Tina, in my opinion, that ever lived, Mrs. Tina Turner, true woman empowerment at its finest. She not only understood love on a spiritual level, but she was then able to express her love for others by seeing herself first. And self-reflection, guys, is the reason we are here. You have to be able to see you before anyone can. And she depicted that so well. Shout out to Miss Tina Turner. Love, guys, is the one thing that stands above everything else in the world, because it is the only emotion that has the power to be eternal. The aspect of the love may change, but not the essence. And as we've been discussing, seeing yourself is an internal process, guys, meaning most of us will function and process things internally before they ever become external, or if they ever become external. And if you guys are familiar with the ins and outs that we've been discussing season 1 and 2, go get caught up. You can't get out what's not already in you. Your level of love for self and others is not measured by the way they treat you. You love, or should be loving, from a place of what's in you. That's why love will be embraced and reciprocated differently from person to person, because it's what's in a person, not what's presented to a person. And we get that confused sometimes, guys. Most often, we experience feelings that we are not able to properly identify. We don't know how to identify what we're feeling, so we stop allowing ourselves to feel. And this is why it is crucial to get to know you and know what's in you. The level of love in each of us will be different. It'll be dispersed different, embraced different, on and off differently and mean different. I know that for most of us in general, we were taught that love is this and love is that, or you'll hear people say, oh, that ain't love. And I was one of those people that used to always say, oh, that's not love. And when I didn't see me, if that's the way you're going to love me, keep it. Because I didn't feel like what people was presenting to me was love. When the real thing was, no, Tina, if that's the way you gonna treat you, if that's the way you gonna love you, we have to stop deflecting how we already feel into how we let people make us feel. But that's a whole nother conversation, guys, that we'll visit later on in the season. What I should have been saying is, Tina, this is not the way you want to be loved. This is not the way you love you. People can only love you as much as they love themselves. And that's just the fact. And love is what you say love is. And some people, that's their version of loving themselves. Tina Turner wasn't in love with a man that didn't love her. And I know that's what a lot of people may have seen on the screen. Neither one of them saw themselves or the roles being played by them. Neither one saw the impact that their parents left on their lives. And we discussed that on our last episode, and how that love and that relationship caused the foundation of all the other relationships that they entered. Go back and catch it if you haven't already, guys. So maybe for the people involved at that moment, that was the way I was loving myself. So maybe that's the way that's the way I was loving me. So that's the way people felt like they should love me as well. And who knows how you love you but you? Only you know what's inside of you. People will not know what's inside of you unless you outwardly, the ins and outs, guys. And for some, love will be words, for others is actions. I used to let people talk me into love with no action behind it. Yep. I used to allow people to talk me into a one-sided ordeal. Remember, we talked about those. Not today. For Tina, it needs to be a combination of both. What you say has to match what you are doing. Folk don't talk me into circles anymore, and I definitely don't allow myself to be spun around in one or talk myself into one. Going in circles makes you dizzy and makes you confused. At least to me, it does. In my world, that's what going in circles does to me. I see me today, and you guys should be seeing you. You can't tell me you love me and sit in my face and lie to me, or not be a support when I need one. That's not my type of love. That may be the way you love you, and that's okay, because different strokes for different folks. We're not here to tear folk down. We're here to reflect on what works for us. And loving and lying, that don't work for Tina. That don't work for me. Loving and being non-supportive, nope, that ain't it either. I see me, I don't lie to me, and I support me in everything I do. So why should you be able to come along, lie to me, not be supportive to me, and get to still love me? It gotta make sense to me. That's not how I love me, and that's not how I'm gonna let you love me. We gotta stop letting folk treat us any old way, then blaming them for doing so. That's a you issue. You allowed them to come along in your life and love you halfway because you halfway loved you. You gotta see you. In some case, words don't even matter because your actions is gonna beat you through the door. At least in my world. Your actions will always show me more about you than you could ever tell me. I'm a visual person. Make it come to life for me. Paint me a picture or something. I can tell my own stories, guys. I don't want a storyteller. I don't need somebody to come along and start telling me a book of how much they love me. I know how much I love me. So I don't need you to write the words to my script. We got to stop allowing other people to write our story. And since this show is all about seeing others and seeing self, I need my love to be visible. And I said visible, not tangible. Some things you can't put a finger on, but you know it's there. Like God. I know God is there. I don't have to ever see him. If I got to guess if or when you love me, then it's already unhealthy, and I don't do unhealthy or uncertainty. Again, the circumstance may change, but not the embrace. Love don't change, not in my world. If I love you, I love you. I may not deal with you the way you may want me to deal with you, but the love is there, and so are the prayers. We got to learn how to pray for people and be okay with that. Does it mean that we hate them? Does it mean that we don't love them? No, it just means they not loving us the way we love ourselves. And that's the best I can do with some of y'all, is love y'all from a distance, because I love me first. Speaking of love. And some of y'all love for me ain't for me. It's for y'all. Some people only love for themselves. They go in it with that one-sided mentality to get what they could get for themselves. And we definitely touched that one before, guys. We touched on those one-sided relationships. Tina, don't enter one-sided relationships.
Hey, how you guys doing? This is Regina Hutt, the wellness practitioner at Empower Mornings. Join me every Monday at noon to work out with Regina on One Network.
Love comes through our every action and word, whether we want it to or not. And everybody's love language is different. You got to know yours. It's one of those things that just comes about, making it eternal. The love that Tina Turner had for herself will live on through us for eternity. Women across the globe are and will forever be empowered by her story. But it was her faith. Her faith not only in her God, but in herself, that will always be the most impactful part of her story, at least for me. Everybody may have took something different. I took her faith. She saw herself. And I say her God because not all of us serve the same God or believe the same things. Although my belief teaches me there's only one God, and in my world, that is Christ. And hers, it was Buddha. And yours, it may be the sun, the moon, your cat, your dog, who knows? You got to know you, I know me. We have to be faithful to our own faith. My faith and love for self and the love Christ has for me teaches me that I don't let people treat me any type of way. The love Christ has for us will help us live in love for eternity. For God so loved the world, case in point. His love is eternal. It will live forever. We cannot live without love, guys. Some of us do, but it will make life very difficult and non-purposeful. And seeing how we just finished our relationships conversation, Tina was at her thinking table. She was at her thinking table and she hit her knees hard. And that's what I did. I went to my thinking table and I said, that's what I'm going to do. Am I searching for love, or am I allowing myself to just be loved and find love? And I'm asking you guys the same question. Are we searching for love? Are you buying your way into these relationships? See, initially, Tina Turner was in search of love. Yes, she was. She didn't see herself. Look, and sometimes when we don't see ourselves, we walk right into blind love. And that's what she did. That's what she did, and that's what I did. Looking for love typically means that you are seeking a connection, whether romantic or with someone who fulfills your emotional need of belonging. However, is the love real if it causes you sacrificing you? If you got to switch up and change who you are just to make this person happy, then the love ain't for you, it's for them. And that's a one-sided relationship. Sometimes we get caught up in the pressure of desiring love from friends, family, or other facets of love, and it contributes to us craving for and buying love. Because let's just face it, guys, we live in a society today where if you're not in love or being loved in your relationships, you start to desire it and you start to search, or you start finding yourself searching for it because we want what we see. We live in a world where people will make things look so glittered and so gold, and our eyes start sparkling for these things. They look happy and in love, and I want that. Love is a feeling that is in you, guys. Either it's there or it isn't. Why we convince ourselves that we can purchase a person's emotions or our own is beyond me. You cannot buy love. But Tina, I don't try to figure things out that I can't control. I don't do that anymore, and you guys shouldn't be in either. Buying love is something that you can't control, because when that person starts switching, what are you going to do? Buying love is a desire to act in a way that benefits others. It is for the happiness and well-being of another person or thing. There's no gain involved for you. You don't get nothing out of that but miserable. So what happens when you lose this person or thing? We lose ourselves. You lose yourself. We take the external remains of what was and we turn it internal. We turn that thing inward, feeling as if we don't deserve love. We feel we don't deserve it, but we are blindly searching by buying our way into some of those one-sided relationships. So we letting our hearts be bigger than it needs to be. And these are all the things we discussed already, guys. We're not confident and we don't know our worth. So we try to buy love. And the only reason that people try to buy love is to try and fill a void in their own lives. They feel someone other than them can give them something that they don't know how to give themselves. At least for Quita, that's what it was. I felt like everybody and having people around me and buying myself into these relationships that I was being loved. I didn't realize that I just had a whole bunch of people around me, but there still was no love in the air. We got to stop expecting folks to give us something that we don't know how to give ourselves. Folks, no one in this world will ever give you more than you give you. That is an imaginary emotion that some of us have created because we're not capable of accepting true love or truly loving ourselves. So we have convinced ourselves that we can make a person love us. You can't buy emotions. And no one is going to make you love yourself if you don't already love yourself. I don't care how many relationships you get in and how much they do for you. If you don't love you, you don't love you. The only person who can restore you back to you is you and God. Whoever your God may be, you got to know the source of where your emotions are derived from and what's fueling your emotions. Most of us don't even know where our emotions come from. We just know that we feel something. What we feel and how, we don't even know. We just know that we feel it. You got to be aware of you. Our lives become meaningful and joyful when we know who we are and we are around people who really love us and not just around people who want us there for their convenience. We not entering relationships with uncertainty anymore, guys, and we definitely not buying our way into relationships or love. Not every relationship will produce love. What we are in search of or what we may be searching for from that person. Some of us search for love in every relationship. Every relationship that some of us into, we are looking for love. And every relationship is not going to produce love, guys. You got to know you and who you're dealing with and what purpose you are dealing with them for. There's a reason and a season for everything. And what's meant for you will be a lifetime. And if you are buying relationships, then that's not something that's a lifetime. Because what happens when all the basic needs of that relationship are met? The person will become less dependent on happiness coming from material things, and then they're going to become more dependent on the social connections. And once they discover that y'all have nothing in common, there's no connections, or y'all don't even know or truly like each other, what happens? Have y'all ever been around people who say they love each other and you just sit there and watch and realize they don't even like each other? They don't even know. And it's not even that they don't like each other. They don't like themselves. That's the way they are loving themselves. And now they have convinced themselves that because this person is treating them the same way they treat themselves, that that's love. It's insanity is what it is. We start to question who we are when we're not properly loved. I used to question my entire existence, asking God, why am I here? Why doesn't anyone love me? And you know what God said to me, guys? One day God said to me, why don't you? Why don't you love you, Tina? And I'm asking y'all the same thing. And you know what my truth was? My truth was I didn't know how. I didn't know how, guys. And most of us can't or won't admit that we don't treat ourselves right, that we don't see ourselves, that we don't love ourselves. But we want everybody else around us to love us and to show us all of this respect when we don't even know how to love and respect ourselves. You got to make it make sense. You have to see you before anyone else will ever see you. It's simple, guys. I'm not sitting here teaching y'all rocket science. I'm teaching y'all basic skills, basic survival. Love is not about lust or power. It's about connection, respect, and a deep understanding of one another. See, I never felt like people truly understood me, so I never felt like people truly was able to love me. How could you love what you don't understand? And me being an intellect, it has to make sense to me. If you don't even understand me, how could you love me? I love God because of the understanding he has of me and the understanding I have of him. There's no power trips. I can't buy my way in, and his love doesn't change towards me based off of what I do and don't do. Our words and our actions towards each other match. I get out what I put in. We have respect for each other. I know dictionaries has taught us that love is to have a warm personal attachment and yada, 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 a deep affection for. And guess what, guys? I have that deep affection for Christ. But life has given us way different meanings of what love should be. And some of our love comes with conditions. And if it's fair to say, all of our love comes with conditions in one way or another. But what it shouldn't come with is a price. The only price that should ever exert itself from love is the one Christ paid for our lives. When people buy into you, they should be receiving the love of Christ from you in return. Not a made up, I love you because. Because to me, because equals you already know. And we all know what comes after that. What comes after but. Whatever comes after but is belittling in Tina's world. Hi guys, Tina Wynn-Bridges here, your host of the You See Me podcast, inviting you guys to join me every Saturday right here on the We Empower Network and on my webpage at ucme-tw.com to gain access to the Building Bridges workshops and webinar series. Thank you. See you there. For people to enter my life or attempt to enter my life thinking that they're going to halfway love me, that doesn't work. That don't work for Tina, because Tina doesn't halfway anything anymore. I'm not living uncertain life anymore. It's either full throttle for me, or I don't even want to be bothered. Doing things halfway is too close to the old me. And you know, I hear a lot of people say, oh, this person brought me back to the old me. No, they didn't. You brought you back to the old you because you played with you. You got to know you. How was they supposed to know that halfway loving you was too close to the old you? Only you know that. And we don't build new things with old items. At least I don't. Tina Turner had to self-reflect, guys, and truly become okay with loving herself before she was able to properly love anybody else. She no longer had a void to fill or felt pressure into giving what wasn't inside of her. Today, I no longer buy love or feel pressured to give people what I know they don't deserve in my life. I allow my love for self to show in me by me sowing love into others. And I do that by first loving myself. And that's what Miss Turner did. And that is what God did for us. He loved himself first. People, the only way we can truly love God, ourselves, or others is by seeing ourselves and loving ourselves first. It's very simple. It's very simple. I know it sounds like a difficult ordeal, but it's very difficult. It's challenging is what it is. And most of us just are not up for the challenge. Tina likes a good challenge, so I'm up for the challenge. And I want to encourage each of you to be up for the challenge, to love you so you can be able to love others, so that others can be able to properly love you. Don't allow yourself to be caught up in buying love or false love based off simply not seeing you. Because when you don't see you, that's what you get caught up in, guys. You get caught up in people treating you any way that they think is possible. And guess what? That's not a them issue. That's a you issue. Because if you don't know you, how are they supposed to know you? So my task for everyone this week is to not buy love, to go out, see yourself, be empowered through the love that you have for you, so that you can sow good and healthy love into others and into the relationships that you are building. And after you guys have conquered all of that, I want you guys to take the time to come back and to see me so that we can continue our conversation on love and Black history. Thank you guys for joining.